Hall of Fame inductees
Yeah,
today, officially.
yeah.
Seven artists got are going to be inducted. I think the ceremonies when in it used to be March. It used to be March before.
Yeah, this is late this year. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I don't know,
I
but
remember it being yeah.
so the seven artists: Kate Bush, Sheryl Crow, Missy Elliott, George Michael, Willie Nelson, Rage Against the Machine, and the Spinners. Anyone shocked you here?
Um okay, I was pleasantly surprised at Missy Elliott because I just didn't think they would vote for her.
Not only that, she's first ballot.
Yeah. Like I did not think they would I did not think they would vote for her.
Apparently, the last couple hip hop artists that got in the first ballot. Jay Z, her, and someone else got in the first ballot also too recently. It was in Wu Tang or somebody else.
But because now the voting board has changed a little bit because actually I was Questlove from the Roots is he's one of the people on the like the
As he should. He knows his music.
yeah, and so and he's talked about and he has like his own podcast. Actually, it's pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called
I'll check it out.
Questlove Supreme, and he like he talks to all different kinds of people. A lot of mostly music artists, of course,
Right, of course.
but it's really good, and he's really good at interviewing and really good at and so he's talked about a lot of that, and like going through the process of you know getting certain people to vote different or getting you know artists considered that previously would not have been. Um, and so, but still, I was not. I thought it was a nice. It was nice to see her nominated or to see her on the ballot. But I did not think they were going to. Then definitely not first ballot. So I'm so happy for that because I thought just she's one of those artists that it would be real if you don't really pay attention. It'd be real easy to just be like, just to not know what to do with her.
Of course.
She's just so unique with everything she did. But you know, yeah, to me that is the one to be the most happy about. That
No,
one because
I'm with you in that. And the thing is, as big as she was in the late '90s, early 2000s, she can get easily lost in the shuffle because of so much of the other females came behind her in the last 15, 20 years. Nicki Minaj and Cardi B and some of these rappers that have come behind her that it's easy to forget her impact.
yeah, because it's weird because she was so huge
So different
for that period of time, and then she like just completely just almost vanished.
by choice, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the circumstances, you know. But it is. I mean, I wasn't expecting her to get in this early.
No, I'm surprised actually. I'm pleasantly surprised. I see.
Yeah.
Um, Rage got in. I think it's the fifth opportunity to get in finally.
Okay. And they
Very happy.
well,
Very happy. Very
because
happy. I'm a huge Rage fan, of course. So
yeah, and so of course I'm now because I guess they had to clear out some people first because you know Green Day got in a few years ago,
yeah,
and then Foo Fighters got in last year, and then Chili Peppers got in last year. So I
yeah,
guess they had some of their contemporaries that were kind of in line ahead of them,
yeah.
and those people have all gotten in now. So
Is there process similar to baseballs? Is a percentage?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure how exactly it works.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, there are some years where it's where you look at who got it and it's like really.
Right. George Michael surprised it took this long to get in. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Same here. I figured he would have gotten in already.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing with this because like there are people who you look at them as like, wait a minute, they just got in now.
Yeah, the Spinners being one of those.
Yeah,
Kate Bush, to some degree, yeah. I
and I was
mean,
a little bit surprised by the Spinners because they're one of those groups like they're not the Temptations or the Four
right.
Tops, where they're not the group that everybody knew, right? So I thought they were one of those groups that might just get kind of forever lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, yeah. And Willie Nelson, prime
Hey, I mean,
example.
exactly. That's a prime example. Like now, like
Yeah,
really, like what took y'all so
at least
long?
they did. At least they were still alive. Thank God, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, ridiculous. Yeah, a couple other like categories like musical influence award. Um, DJ Cool, Link Ray got in for that. You have the musical excellence award, Shaka Khan, Al Cooper, and Bernie Taupin.
and now Bernie Taupin is basically Elton John's other half.
Right, right.
So I mean, there's no Elton John without Bernie Taupin.
It's
So
correct. Yes, yes. Shaka Khan, of course, as a music excellence award, and then Don Cornelius, of course, famously known as the host of Soul Train.
yeah,
Gets
and he's another one. Should have been in there. A lot of it's like 'cause when I was in college, I took a course on like history of rock and roll music, and
mm,
the degree to which things were segregated as far
yeah,
as who got to go on what platforms. Um, so Don Cornelius, by creating Soul Train, and it was one of those things where it's like there's certain, if you weren't Motown, you weren't getting on American Bandstand,
yeah,
or if you weren't Motown, you weren't getting on like the main top 40 radio or whatever. And so Soul Train was for black artists who were not Motown, basically, or who were not like the kind of instant crossover type of artists. And so a lot of people got that. That's where they got their exposure for many years. And it's funny because like when I was a kid and during the 80s, that's when like the radio segregation, like it really kicked in
hmm
then. I mean, because it became a two-way street.
right.
It's like when I was a kid, because I mean, during the 80s, like the only white artist that got played on because that's when you started to really have, white radio stations and black radio stations. And so on the white stations, Michael Jackson and Prince got played, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then conversely on the black stations, um, Madonna, they played Madonna, they would play George Michael.
hmm
There are a few other people, but same thing. Like, or you had, or a white artist had to make a song that sounded like a quote unquote black song, like some of the Phil Collins stuff,
Of
or
course, yeah.
right. I mean, you had to make something right. I mean, and so I mean, Don Cornelius, he was, Soul Train was one of the platforms that really gave a lot of black artists their exposure, and then um one person I hope gets in, if he's not in for some category already. Donnie Simpson should get in there because um, when he was on, when BET started, Donnie Simpson's Video Soul did kind of
hmm
the same thing as far as music videos. A lot of black artists who had zero chance of getting on MTV
Yeah.
got played on BET, and look, Donnie Simpson's local here, but he's another guy that if he's not, yeah, he should get in there for something. They should find some way to get him in the Hall of Fame because he deserves it also.
Yeah. Don Cornelius, by the way, his story is very tragic.
Oh yeah,
Very
it is.
tragic
I've
story.
heard. I haven't heard all. I've heard just a few little tidbits here and there. I was like, oh shit,
Yeah, committed suicide.
yeah.
He killed
I
himself.
mean, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it got morbid here, of course, but yeah,
yeah,
that guy's a legend, though. That guy is, I mean, obviously, I say Black America, but just even America as a whole, because, Soul Train ended up being not just a black show, it ended up being where even a lot of whites are embracing that show through the years as it trailed on through the decades, you know? That
yeah.
legacy,
And
Soul Train legacy is amazing. It really is.
it is. And now, I mean, like, if there's a legacy of that going on now, so LL Cool J got together with some people, and they made a there's a station on Sirius called Rock the Bells Radio, and they
Hmm.
play a lot of the 80s, 90s rap music. And it's important because like Chuck D used to go on about this all the time, saying that basically the rap that rap doesn't there's no classic there was no classic rock station for rap music.
Right.
And classic rock became a thing because the kids who grew up listening to the Beatles and all that grew up to become station managers and record executives and whatnot. And so I mean, classic rock was kind of born as a way for basically those people to keep their music going.
Yeah.
And and so like what so Chuck D has often been saying that we that rap needed something like that, so that you know 40-year-old rappers are not just forgotten, right?
Right.